Hello, football fans, and welcome to Week 6 of Inside the Eagles Nest. As always, I'm Kevin Tosh. Alongside me, Justin Hall and Franklin County, extending their win streak on the season out to 2 games with a 28-7 win over the Bassett Bengals Friday night. And it started off a little bit rough, Justin, for Franklin County.
Yeah, Franklin County, just like we started off the week before against Magna Vista, started off with little ball control issues. We had 2 big fumbles there in our first 2 possessions of the game, one of them being right almost identically on the goal line. So, I mean, it was rough for Franklin County, but they persevered, came through against, I guess, our new district foe, Bassett.
That's right. Franklin County, if you haven't heard, is going to be in the Piedmont District after a crazy turn of events for the Virginia High School League Executive Committee overturning the decision to keep us in the River Ridge. But you'll be hearing more about that if you haven't already got sick of hearing about it. But like you said, Bassett, Magna Vista will be foes next year in the Piedmont District. But other than the fumble issues that Franklin County had in their first couple of drives, we won't harp on it, but the officiating was a little bit touchy at the beginning of this football game.
A little bit. I mean, it's like we have replacement officials out there, and I mean, this is coming the night after the whole Green Bay game. So, I mean, it was very bad. They couldn't keep their flags in their pocket. I mean, they did make some great calls, but there was a lot of calls that, I mean, they were definitely wishy-washy along the way.
But we're not going to harp on that. Franklin County came out with a 28-7 win. Just to run down the score, and Franklin County got the ball and opened up the score with a 40-yard touchdown run by Witcher. Power good on the kick. Then Martin was able to score for Bassett, their only touchdown, on a 5-yard run. And then Ryan Wade, fullback,
breakout
Z-back, H-back, whatever you want to call him, had 4 carries, 2 of them for touchdowns, one on a 16-yard run and one on an 11-yard run. And those were 2 beautiful plays by the Franklin County offense.
Oh, I mean, I think we should call it the touchdown play because what did they run the play 3 times? Or
I think they ran it 3 times.
They ran it 3 times. One of them he busted off almost a 20-yard run. Then he had the 2 touchdown plays. I mean, I got tricked on most of it. There on his last touchdown run, I was talking to my dad about it. And I was like, you know, this is what they're going to do. And sure enough, they went through, did it again. It's almost like he could have handed it off to the Z-back. He could have handed it off to the fullback. He could have kept it. But now he like reaches right back around, hands it off to Ryan Wade, and he just busts through the middle. And a beautiful play. I mean, I don't know if I remember Franklin County actually running the play last year.
It's been a while since they ran a play like that. But in the postgame, he was actually one of the co-Bojangle players of the game for Cable 12. And he said that he had to give all the credit to the offensive line, because on neither of those runs for touchdowns was he even close to being touched. Huge huge holes opened up by that offensive line. Chris Luckett, Josh Stone, Alvino Matthews, Allen, I always forget, Jack Boone. He was actually the one who opened up the big hole, but his offensive line. The other co-MVP of the game for Bojangles' co-MVP of the game was E.J. Harris, who had a big interception late in the game.
It was a breakout game for him as well. He had some punt returns. He had one brought back for, was it a blocking, or they called it a personal foul penalty. Great punt return. You know, coming into last night's game, Franklin County had only returned 2 punts on the season, and they returned almost every punt last night. E.J. Harris did a great job. He played great defense, played great on offense. He had a couple big runs as well. So it was great to see Ryan Wade and E.J. Harris break out last night, or Friday night.
Franklin County had 52 carries, 345 yards. Christian Witcher, 2 of 5 in the air, no interceptions, for 21 yards. So that's 57 plays for 366 yards of offense. They had 3 fumbles and lost 2 of them. Flipping it over to Bassett, they rushed the ball 27 times for 58 yards. They were 10 of 23 through the air with an interception for 91 yards. And so that's 50 offensive plays for only 149 yards. And Franklin County in that defensive front and defensive backfield did a great job stopping Mackenzie Lawson.
Oh, they did. I mean, we harped on him last week coming into the game, how he basically ripped through Christiansburg, through the air and on the ground game. And if you take away Bassett's one scoring drive last week of around 70 yards, I mean, Bassett didn't get close to topping 100 yards total for the game. Tyler Toon was in the backfield wreaking havoc. The linebackers were blitzing through. I mean, it was a great game for Franklin County, offensively, defensively, and really special teams.
You know, Mackenzie Lawson was coming off a 265-yard rushing night against Franklin County's next opponent, Christiansburg. The Eagles were able to hold him to 13 carries for 33 yards. I mean, That's a great job. But some of the stats for Franklin County rushing: Witcher rushed 12 times for 56 yards. Wade, like we said, 4 carries, 44 yards. Chance Tyree, 25 carries for 170 yards. Carlton Adams, 1 carry for no yards. Jalen Gill, 5 carries for 7 yards. E.J. Harris, 5 carries for 69 yards. And for the Bengals, Lawson, 13 carries, 33 yards. Martin, 6 carries for 21 yards. Deshaun Valentine, 2 carries for 1 yard. That was another big stop. And Trey Ross, 4 carries for 17 yards. So Franklin County was pretty much able to do what they want, mostly in the second half, against the Bassett Bengals.
Franklin County should have been able to do it. I mean, Bassett's undersized. They're coming off of, a rebuilding year last year. I mean, you can tell that Coach, I've never forgot his name. Jay Gilbert. I know. He had a big event last year, if you remember, in Franklin County. He got kicked out of the game just because he wanted to stand up for his team. So, I mean, Coach Gilbert's a great guy. Bassett just a little under-talented this year. But we look for them to be back and be great Piedmont District foes here for the years to come.
That's right. It's going to be a really good matchup in years to come. Two really hard-nosed football teams. Both of them showed a lot of emotion on both sides with the calls and against each other. But anything else you have to say about this week's game?
Let's bring on the Blue Demons.
That's right. So Franklin County comes away with a 28-7 victory over the Bassett Bengals, and they're going to stay at home this week at Cy Dillon Stadium. And they're going to take on a foe who pretty much laid a thumping on them last year. They're going to look for a little bit of revenge as they take on the Christiansburg Blue Demons this week. And we're going to be right back as we preview that matchup. And welcome back to Inside the Eagles Nest. We just got done reviewing the 28-7 victory over the Bassett Bengals. And now we're going to preview a little bit of a different foe this week in the Christiansburg Blue Demons, who, like we said before the break, really put a hurting on Franklin County last year in the New River Valley.
Oh, man, it was a cold night, first off. I remember sitting there running the camera, freezing while you were in the warm press box. They had a great student section. I had a great turnout. Franklin County went up there thinking that we were going to, try to hang with them. Christiansburg had a great team last year. Had 2 players now playing for Virginia Tech. We were just talking about Zach Snell and Brendan Motley. And really, Franklin County started moving the ball at the beginning of the game. Terrell Basham fumbled it, and we never ever got back into the game. We didn't score until late in that game. I remember Carlton Wilkes talking about the whole touchdown streak that Franklin County has. I couldn't even tell you how many games it's at now.
That's a record you just don't talk about.
Yeah, we did score there at the end. Kyle Ellis got the ball into the end zone. So it'd be great to finally get that off our backs and play them again this year. I'm sure most of the boys remember that game last year as well.
That's right. Head coach Tim Cromer of the Christiansburg Blue Demons lost a ton of players on both sides of the football, only returning 2 offensive starters and 3 defensive starters, pretty much like the Magna Vista game, and Bassett. A lot of these teams in rebuilding years, as Franklin County somewhat in a rebuilding year. But as we look at the offensive side of the football, last year with Brendan Motley, they had the ability to run the football. They run a version of the offense like Franklin County does, except they run a lot of jet sweeps. They don't go behind the wingback and the fullback. So it's similar, but they were also able to throw the ball around with Brendan Motley. Not so much the case this year. They have Muldoon as the quarterback this year, not quite able to throw the football around. Probably has the ability to, but they haven't went to it yet. If we haven't said, Christiansburg coming into this game 4-0 on the season. They were undefeated when we played them last year. But their running backs, 2 main guys that you got to watch out for, Daquan Greengoss and Joey Augustin. Both of them averaging right at 150 yards a game through their first 2 games. So really, they're the main 2 guys and the main cogs of this offense.
Which helps Franklin County, because Franklin County's defensive front, as we were just talking about, our defense is built to stop the run. It's when they get those short passes over top of us, which let's hope Christiansburg doesn't finally bring out their passing game this coming up week, because they have the athletes to do it with. But really, their offense works in our defense's favor every time.
That's right. And flipping over and looking at the defensive side for the Christiansburg Blue Demons, a lot of good players, a lot of athletes on the defensive side, but really the only one we're going to talk about, Calvin Graham, leads the team in tackles, leads the team in sacks. And he's the one that's really going to be the main cog in disrupting this rushing attack for Franklin County.
Franklin County's line, they had a great performance. I'm pretty sure all 5 of them graded out great last week against Bassett. Opened up all those holes as we were talking about. It's not really a double team situation here in high school, But really, Franklin County with their option attack, we want Christiansburg to get that speed into the backfield so we can misdirect and option them off every single time.
That's right, and especially with Graham being a linebacker, the way Franklin County blocks, they look to get linemen not necessarily blocking at the line of scrimmage, which they want to do, but they look to get those linemen into the linebacker core, into the secondary core. So like you said, speed can sometimes hurt against an option attack like Franklin County, like Justin just explained. And so what's it going to take for Franklin County to get that monkey off their back and beat Christiansburg this year?
Well, I think Franklin County needs to get healthy. I mean, of course, we're still going to have Kyle Ellis out. We're going to have Akeem Otterman out. But I would really like to see Devin Clements get back, try to test out his ankle a little bit before district play starts up. I mean, that's no disrespect to Jalen Gill and Carlton Adams and E.J. Harris, because all of them have shown that they can run the ball as well. But in my opinion, without Devin Clements, Franklin County can't go too far into districts, especially against the talented GW Danville and PH.
What about Christiansburg? What are they going to have to do to come out with the victory against Franklin County and continue their win streak?
I think they're going to have to pass the ball. Franklin County has not displayed any type of pass defense whatsoever, or at least not a stellar one. Those short passes over the middle. And with Christiansburg athletes, they can take a 6-yard pass and take it to the house every single time. So let me flip it around on you, Kevin. What do you think Franklin County has to do to beat Christiansburg?
I think that they're going to have to continue to not only develop, but continue to find these little gems that they have on the football team. His sophomore year, Ryan Wade played fullback. He ran the football. Didn't do it last year, but, we kind of see he has the ability to run the football. Carlton Adams, just an explosive man and explosive returner on kickoff returns. So I think, you found one of your kickoff returners by far in Carlton Adams. And that's one of the good things, if there is a good thing of Clements being out, you were able to find that.
And Christiansburg has a great kicker.
So, I think they need to continue as you work, and this is going to be the last non-district game of the year as you get fired up for the last Western Valley District 4 games. I think they need to continue to find these little gem players that maybe aren't seeing a lot of playing time, and then continue to develop these players that they found in the past couple games due to the plethora of injuries that they saw this year.
What do you think Tim Krober and the Christiansburg Blue Demons are going to have to do to come into this game and beat the Eagles?
I think that they're going to have to be fundamentally sound. They don't have the exceptional athletes. They don't have the Brendan Motleys and the Zach Snells who can beat you just on pure talent. I think that the offensive line is going to have to try and wear down that defensive front for Franklin County, which is something that's very tough to do, especially since they're able to rotate so many guys in on the defensive front for Franklin County. So I think for Christiansburg to win, I don't think they're going to have to do anything special, because that's usually what gets you in trouble. They're going to have to do the fundamental things to even be competitive in this ball game, and that really applies to Franklin County as well.
You got to keep track of the ball if you want to score some points. People say defense wins championships, and that goes in both ways as well.
Well, that's going to about wrap it up for this week of Inside the Eagles Nest. Just once again, Franklin County came away with a 28-7 win over the Bassett Bengals. They moved to 3-2 on the season. Christiansburg Blue Demons are coming in to Cy Dillon Stadium at Fred M. Brown Field this Friday night with a 4-0 record. And I can tell you that those boys for Franklin County want nothing more than to stop that win streak that the Blue Demons are bringing in. I'm Kevin Tosh, FC Insider on Twitter. Justin Hall04. Justin Hall is his Twitter handle for game updates and just anything. And we appreciate you watching Inside the Eagles Nest, and we hope you're getting something out of it.